Good to see you guys. Alfred Graf. Good morning. Nice to meet you. Hi. Pleasure.
Good morning, I'm Alfred Graf. I work for Congressman Cooper, Wisconsin.
I'm Jim Cooper. I work with Alfred. So often the most important jobs are the most local jobs, but sometimes they don't get the attention that they should. Washington has a lot of cameras, a lot of glamour, but we don't necessarily get much done. In fact, this Congress, sadly, is the laziest Congress in modern American history. I was only in Washington this entire year, 44 full days. That doesn't count the half days, but on the half day you barely do anything. Anyway, so this is a very sad time for America to have such gridlock in Washington. People just prefer to fight instead of getting something done. That's the bad news. The good news is, and I'm being parochial here, but it's still the best country in the world. It's a land of opportunity and hope. The challenge we face is to keep the greatness of our society while we grow and expand. Nashville is a good example of a community that's on the right track. The growth here has been amazing. The new convention center isn't even completed yet our hotels are full. We're trying to grow as fast as we can. You see these cranes all over Nashville. They're growing and building buildings and opportunities. So we got to get America on the right track. There's a lot of financial issues that are complicated. There are a lot of social issues that are complicated. One of the big lightning rods has been the immigration question. I voted for the DREAM Act. That unfortunately did not pass. The president, of course, by executive order, has encouraged young people to come forward. And it's just an executive order, but that's all he can do with a gridlocked Senate and House. So I look forward to learning from you. Let me give you a little bit of personal family history. My wife and I live here on Woodmont Boulevard, also known as White Bridge Road, Riley Parkway. We have 3 kids. They're mainly college age now. But our family experience has been shaped more than you would think by Latin America. My father used to be the U.S. ambassador to Peru. Unfortunately, I was too young for that. But our house was always full of Peruvian stories. And my father invited back a couple of the first Peruvians to live in Tennessee. And they've come and stayed and been very successful. My wife had a very formative childhood experiences in Fabian's, Argentina. She spent a summer living with a family in Buenos Aires. And she still considers it to be the most elegant city in the world. And I know Argentines are very proud.
What is the main issue that we need as a voice here can help in our district, this district that you represent? What is something that we can do to help?
Well, I think what the community can do is really what it's already doing, is set a good example. So there's nothing more powerful than a fine example. And that's what's being set every day. Now, there will always be a few bad apples. That pains me in Congress because we have a few terrible congressmen, and they ruin the reputation of the whole institution. There will always be a few bad actors in your community, but we need to minimize that as much as possible so that people get the correct impression of the overall group, because there's probably not a finer, harder working, more family-oriented, more religious group of people in the world. And we are so lucky in America because we receive so many of the hardest working, optimistic, idealistic people on the planet because they choose to come here. And we should be thankful for that. It's an amazing thing. I worry sometimes about the brain drain in other countries. When so many of the finest people come here, that it makes it hard on some of the countries that lose some of their best and brightest. And the family turmoil, even with the remittances, must be terrible to have lose their prized child or their prized family, or who chose to vote with their feet and come to another place. So if people understand it, it's a heartwarming story, and America is the beneficiary, but so many people don't want to understand it. There's an old American historian named Henry Adams, who was the son and grandson of presidents, and he said that the purpose of a political party is the systematic organization of hatred, and that was in the Gilded Age. Well, that's a sad comment, but sadly there's a lot of truth in it. And Democrats, we pride ourselves today as being above hate. Well, oftentimes that means we lose elections because we don't channel that powerful human urge in a direction that gets people voting. So I'm one of those who thinks that in the presidential campaign, the reason we are having a hard time in the South is because there's a lot of racism involved. It's not true of everyone, but there's a lot of white Americans who can't understand a black American in the White House. And it'll take another generation or two to get over that, to be genuinely welcoming. When I think the truth is, for most of the world, Barack Obama is the living embodiment of the American dream. Because here's a racial minority who rose to the very top. Here's the child of a single parent who made it all the way to the very top. And he did it through hard work and intelligence and luck. It's being in the right place at the right time. But this is the American dream. It is still alive for everyone. And we've got to keep it alive because that's the most powerful engine in our country. You can come here and live up to your full God-given potential. That's more true in America, I think, than any other country on earth. As long as we keep that going, we'll be number one, because that's a very powerful engine. It's harnessing human aspiration, and we do that better than anybody else.